Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Dugout Football Channel. Welcome to the Dugout Premier League review of the season 2019-2020 season. The longest Premier League season has finally come to an end since 1963, and I'm pretty sure we're all happy that the league has finally ended. I've got obviously Connor from the Cop Council. How you doing, my friend?
I'm very well, thank you, mate. Thank you for having me on. I get to be unbearable in this video because, I just want to say now I apologize for being unbearable, but I think I'm allowed to be in a sense. But yeah, absolute brilliant having me on, mate, and thank you for having me on.
No, not a problem. And also making their debuts on the Dugout Football Channel, we have Neil from Beyond the 90 podcast. How are you doing?
I'm all right. Don't worry, Cop Council. I'll keep you in check if you get a little bit carried away.
Mate, I'll have to I have to check one or two things, but then other things I'm like, no.
Fair enough. We had the same thing when we won the league, so I understand 100%.
Yes, it is nice. It is nice to obviously be Premier League champions. There's no doubt about it. And we have Diesel from Claude and the Bansters channel. How are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, all good, Doug. All good. Everyone on this channel's won the league. Well, not recently than what we have. I can't say much at the moment, can I? Does the FA Cup count? All joking aside, Doug, thanks for having me on, mate. Really appreciate it. And looking forward to it. And big up to Neil and the Cop Council as well. So, yeah, thank you.
Excellent.
Appreciate that.
Excellent. Now, we would obviously have one more guest. Obviously, you have seen on the thumbnail, Sophie was on the thumbnail, but obviously she is not here at the moment. She's out with her nan for her birthday. So, happy birthday, Sophie's nan. Hope you have a lovely evening, and we'll have you on the channel very, very soon. So, let's just kick things off. And basically, there's been some breaking news today, is that the Premier League clubs have voted against the adoption of 5 substitutes, and we'll be finally going back to 3 substitutes. And it also means that the drinks breaks are now over.
Yes.
So Neil, what do you make? What do you make of this announcement from the Premier League today, Neil?
So I'm quite glad they've done this because it was obvious that the Premier League was this year was quite good because it was like the bigger teams and the traditional top 6 were kind of stumbling a little bit. So it's given teams like Wolves, Everton, ourselves a little bit of a chance to catch up. Now with the 5 teams thing and the drinks break not as much, but the FFP that's going to come in next year and the fact it's been abolished, we're looking at the top 6 becoming more of the traditional top 6. So I'm quite glad they've got rid of that because obviously a bigger 5 substitutions is massive, especially for a team that's competing in a lower team that's not got the squad depth, like for example us or Wolves. So it's kind of even the playing fields a little bit. And to be fair, we're a bit biased on this, but I do want a more fair Premier League. I want teams like Wolves to be like this season that have beat Man City twice. I want them to come in and really take on and actually give the top 6 a really hard time. So I'm really for it, to be honest.
Yeah, Diesel was like, yes, you're very happy about this news, aren't you?
Yeah. Especially when you said about the water break. For me, Doug, I'm one of them. I'm quite an old school traditionalist, and 3 subs. I'm one of them. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I understand why they introduced it. Obviously, due to the circumstances we've had. But we're sort of now into this new normal, and obviously next season, which I think is 6 weeks away. I mean, I can't believe how close that's coming. I just want things to get back to normal. The water breaks annoy me because for me it disrupts the flow of the game, and I think any fan would probably say that as well. I think they'd back me up. It's just too many interruptions and it disrupts the game. I don't like it. Some of the games I've seen, it's not even been hot. So why do they need a drinks break?
Yeah,
but you know what I'm saying. But I'd like it to obviously go back, and for the clubs to actually all vote on that sort of tells a story, really, doesn't it? You know, they didn't like it either. So, no, I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
Yeah, I have to say, I'm quite glad the drinks break is gone. I felt it disrupted the game very, very much so. Connor, you got to see the drinks break and the subs go back down to 3?
The water break, yes. I'm I'm with Diesel here. Like, I'm happy that that's over with. I remember when we played Arsenal, and the first 25 minutes we were brilliant, and then water break happened, and it just went all down the pot. And I think that's been Liverpool since the breakdown, especially. We've just been. I think Liverpool and many teams, they're built on momentum, and when you have the slow moment of water breaks. And it's like the other side, why have we got water breaks in, do they have water breaks in the World Cup when we play it in the summer?
Yeah.
It's things like this. But the 5 substitutions, I'm happy with it because, I like football, 3 substitutions, that's how it is. But, it is a shame that now, I'm probably saying this because Liverpool got the players to do it, but, I kind of liked seeing the youngsters, getting the opportunity on the bench and getting them to, play a couple of Premier League minutes instead of just being, banged on in the League Cup or the FA Cup. So apart from that, I'm a bit washed in with it, but I'm happy that both are going back to normal realistically, and normality is starting to become a thing now in football.
Yeah, I have to agree. I did like the fact that obviously we saw Neco Williams come on. We obviously saw Curtis Jones coming on. We saw Harvey Elliott coming on as well. So yeah, it did benefit the youngsters as well. I would definitely agree. Obviously, Luke Thomas as well for Leicester City. He obviously got a couple of games this season as well, and has looked very, very good as well. And obviously Arsenal have had a few youngsters as well, especially Emi Martinez, who I have to say has really, really impressed me since he came into the squad.
Yeah, he's been a revelation, Doug. The biggest compliment I can give him is the fact that we haven't missed Leno. I mean, what more can you say? I'm seeing stories at the moment. He's coming out and basically saying, if he doesn't start or if he doesn't play games next season, he's going to go. Totally agree with him. Totally agree. I rate both keepers. I do like Leno, so I'm not going to do what most Arsenal fans have done and start slating him because he's been one of our players of the season. I think a lot of fans have short memories, right? But no one could foresee just how much of a revelation Martinez has been, and I actually feel more assured when I see him in goal. He's got a big frame. He catches the ball. His kicking's better. And for me, I'm again going back to the old school way of doing it. My whole thing is, if you're in form, you keep the shirt. So the way I look at it, for Martinez, he's in form. It's up to him to play his way out of form. It's up to Leno to play his way back into the team. And as long as Martinez is performing the way he is, again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Keep the shirt. Yeah, he should keep the shirt.
He's been absolutely fantastic this season since he came in as well. Yeah, you don't miss Leno. You don't miss Leno. Right, let's say hello to a few people because obviously we've got a few comments. Seamus Moore is in. How are you doing, Seamus? Hope you're doing well. Chris Welsh is in. Hello. Ant's in. Neil, a man like Neil, as he says. Seamus saying big up to you, Diesel, which is good to see.
Love Seamus.
Same old United fans bottling to come on like they bottled their best chance within the FA Cup.
Exactly. No, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Where are they? What's going to hiding, didn't they? Love you, so.
We do love you. So, Bayer Leverkusen have just scored against Rangers. It's just flashed up on my my screen there. So it looks like Rangers are going to go out, unfortunately. Willian to Arsenal, another winger, says Disdain. Yeah, what do you make of Willian to Arsenal, Diesel?
Oh, right, Doug. Right. God, the amount of rows I've had about this, right? So, but right, this is my take, right? Willian is a very good player, right? I'm not knocking him at all, right? But I want, if it was up to me, I would sign the players we need rather than want, right? So we've got 8 defenders on our books, 8 defenders, and guess what? We still need centre-halves, right? We need 2. Well, we've got Saliba coming. For me, we need 1 more. We need decent centre halves, right? At least two. We need a defensive midfielder because we've not had one in the last 10, 15 years, right?
Yeah.
If we get all of that done, if we can plug the gaps and we have time to get Willian, great. I'm all for it. But it's the typical Arsenal, right? It's the forward players and the creativity. That's all great. I'm one of them people who thinks you build from the back. Build from the back. Start from the back. You know, we've got attacking players. Is Willian's not a player we need, in my opinion. You know, we've got players who can play out there. You know, get what we need. You know, get the top priorities is defenders and a defensive midfielder. He's 31. He's 32, I think, this week. Is it a case of he wants to come to Arsenal, or is it just because he wants to stay in London? Two very different things, right? I want players who want to come and play for us. We seem to be Chelsea's retirement home at the moment, so you know. But look, you know, for a year or two, yeah, it could work out. I think he is a good player. Like I say, he's a good player. But I just worry with this club, we get him, but we don't get any of the other gaps we need to fill, and that'll just be a normal, typical season for us. So, yeah, I'd like to see who else comes.
It's an interesting signing. I must admit, it is very interesting signing. I do agree with the fact that you did say that he might want to stay in London. I do think he is quite settled in London. So yeah, maybe a move to Arsenal. Maybe I don't think he's going to stay at Chelsea as well. There was a comment that just made me chuckle here. Anthony, good old Anthony. Nothing changes. Villa are still shit and going down next season. Well, let's get on to obviously what we're here for is the Premier League review of the year, and obviously we will start at the bottom because obviously we have lost Norwich City, Watford, and Bournemouth. Quite surprised, I think. I don't think anyone expected. I think everyone at the start of the season, when they made their prediction, I don't think anyone expected those three to be in the relegation zone. Okay, maybe Norwich, but obviously, Connor, I'll come to you. Norwich City, were you surprised at how poor they were after lockdown?
Not really. I think that's been their season altogether. I think they've played exciting football. I will give them that. I think they've been very, very exciting to watch. But, you know, with Premier League football, you do have to play, you know, like a relegated team in a sense, maybe, you know, a block of 4 or 5 and then try and defend. But unfortunately for Norwich, that wasn't their football. And to be fair, give them credit to that. You know, they went down to, you know, their philosophy and their style of football. And realistically, you know, I know that Liverpool are, you know, getting linked to, you know, Jamal Lewis. I know Bayern Munich have been linked to Max Aarons as well, that's going to be crazy if that does happen. So, you know, they have fantastic players. You know, Pukki, you know, I was reading, you know, at the start of the season, you know, people were saying Pukki would get 4 goals this season. And then, okay, you know, he had a phenomenal start of the season and then died off a bit towards the end. So, you know, they have good players there. And, you know, I think pretty much all their good players are going to get picked off in the summer. But, you know, for me personally, I kind of expected them to be relegated. But to be honest with you, I didn't expect them to be last in the Premier League, to be honest with you.
No, I have to say, Norwich City were very, very good this season. Attacking-wise, they've been very good. Defensively, as well, they've let them down. But as you say, Connor, obviously, Max Aarons has been linked with Bayern Munich. Ben Godfrey has been linked with AC Milan as well. So it's their defence can't be that bad if 3 of the back 4 are getting linked to obviously big clubs, i.e. obviously Lewis to Liverpool, and then obviously, you know, Aarons and Godfrey to, you know, Germany and Italy respectively. Neil, what did you make of Norwich this season?
I think, Connor, you're kind of right. Like, they had a good philosophy. It was a risk playing young players in a team in the Premier League when you've just come up. It was a complete risk, and at the beginning, that momentum kind of carried them through, I think, a little bit, where they're excited, they're all ready to go. This is a brand new era for them. They're playing at the biggest stadiums in the country as well, and I just think they lost their legs, and that experience didn't quite pull them through. And it's nothing against them personally, because we've seen the opposite philosophy that happened with Cardiff last season. The opposite philosophy where the experienced players didn't work out either, and it's such a hit and miss this season that I think overall in general the relegation team, there were so many teams before lockdown that were just in that zone, and it came to the right at the end of the season. So we obviously knew that Liverpool were going to win it. Congrats, guys! But then the bottom of the table, and then the battle for the Champions League was like the real spots that people were looking at, going, what's going to be interesting till the end of the season. So with Norwich, I think we're a decent enough team, but they were all in the struggle just with the squad depth, and also they've not had the experience. So credit to them for giving it a good go. But Norwich fans, from what I've seen as well, have just been so nice and so lovely. Like, obviously, we bought James Maddison off them. They could have been a lot more bit down and bitter about it, like some fans are, but they still applauded him. They still appreciate what he's done for their club and stuff like that. So I'd say, yeah, go on, Norwich fans. Hopefully he can come back in the Premier League. But again, the Championship is looking pretty tough nowadays.
It is especially next season, obviously with Bournemouth, Watford, and obviously Nottingham Forest still there, Swansea, Cardiff. It's not going to be easy. Diesel, do you think Daniel Farke will still continue as Norwich manager?
Yeah, I think he will. I think he will. I think what's gone, just to echo what the two guys have said as well, I think a lot of it is down to the fact that they have a small squad. I think, the Premier League, with what's happened with the COVID, it's disrupted everybody. You know what I'm saying? And obviously, after the restart, you're playing games every 3 days. You need a big squad. I mean, you need a big squad anyway. Norwich didn't really have it. They played a lot of young players, but I think it's very risky. I mean, most clubs, when they come up, they go in for like what I like to call battle-hardened players with Premier League experience, maybe getting 2 or 3 sort of 30, 31, but obviously got Premier League experience. They know the rigours of the league, just that experience, really. What I will say, I could probably name you 3 or 4 players out of Norwich I'd take tomorrow. They have got some, right good players, but I just think, I like the way they play, but I think they stuck to their principles of playing attractive football, which is all great. But at the same time, you need to know when to mix it, and I don't think they could mix it. And I think you need a couple of styles. I look at Sheffield United, and it's a myth actually that when people say they don't play decent football, they actually do. But at the same time, when it's the old mantra: if you can't win, don't lose. And if they need to shut a game out, they can. And that's when Norwich went wrong,
Yeah.
So
yeah, but at least they haven't had as much as a torment season than Watford. Went through 3 managers. Basically, right. Okay, let's go back to the start. So, September the 12th, Javi Gracia sacked after 4 games in charge, and especially after obviously they did lose 6-0 in the FA Cup final the previous year. Then Kike Sanchez Flores comes in, 1 win in 10 games, and then he's out the door. Nigel Pearson comes in. They're 7 points adrift going into the Liverpool game, which was his first game in charge. And to be fair, Watford actually played very well that day. And then two games before the end of the season, they decided to get rid of Pearson because of some, I think it's outburst at the West Ham game. I'm still getting my head around it. But Neil, I'll come to you. What have you made of Watford this season?
So post Pearson, they just kind of looked dead and buried, to be honest. I think they were on a losing streak. Keeper didn't keep them up. Javi Garcia it was slightly too early to get rid of him, but again, this is Watford through and through. They rotate their team, they rotate their manager. That's their philosophy. They stick to it. Now it's worked for a number of years, but they found out that finally it just caught up with them. Apparently, just from our experience, obviously having Nigel Pearson as our manager, he's just the kind of guy that will speak his mind, and he'll defend his players to the end of the day as well. And doesn't really like the media that much, but he goes, I just want to play decent football with a decent enough squad, and he got them playing. And as I think everybody had the same mentality that, wow, they've actually got themselves slightly out of the relegation zone. We're really hoping for them. And as soon as they got rid of him, they were like, all right, good to go. But the thing is, they still have a really good squad. If you look at players like Ismail Sarr, Dale Fay on his days, absolutely amazing. Going forward, and even like Doucouré and Capoue, they're very good centre midfield that play like decent football together. So Nigel Pearce just tapped into that, and again Ben Foster is another Premier League proven keeper. So it's kind of a surprise that they went down, but it was just around that area. There were so many teams that were going up and going down that it just had to be Watford. But I think if Pearson would have stayed in charge, they potentially could have stayed up. But this is. Sometimes you see a team like Southampton a few years ago where they'd sell to a team like Liverpool, or they'd change manager to when Pochettino went to Tottenham, for example. And that mentality can only last you so long, because we saw them go up to 7th with Koeman, then he went to Everton, and then they've kind of not dropped off a cliff, but they've not hit the same height still. So it shows you that even though you've got a philosophy that you're going to play and you're going to stick with, which I get, sometimes it needs to be changed or revamped. And in this case, it just didn't work out for them.
Yeah, Seamus, totally agree with you. Watford did deserve to go down. I hate the fact that they keep swapping and changing their manager. I think that's now, I think I've read 18 managers in about 6 years. I mean, that is just, I mean, if you had like owners that wanted to do that, then yeah, it's just ridiculous. But obviously that's their way of sacking and changing their managers. Diesel, is there anyone in the Watford team that you would take for Arsenal?
Again, there's like 3 or 4 I'd name who, yeah, I mean, Doucouré I'll take. Pereira, I like him. Very good player. I'll take Capoue. I'm trying to think of who else. Delafeo, yeah, on his day, but he doesn't have his day often enough. He's one of those players for me. He flatters to please. The potential's there. You can see it. It's like another Ozil, in my opinion. And blimey, we don't need another one of them. But I'll tell you something. One thing I will say that really wound me up, right, about the Pearson, because I rate Pearson. I think he's a very good manager, right? Very underrated, in my opinion. Very underrated. I love those old school managers. Old school. Chris Wilder's another one. The no nonsense kind of manager. I love those. And when he went to Watford, straight away I thought, yeah, he'll keep him up. He will keep him up. Because he doesn't get the credit he deserved at Leicester. Ericsson, what's his name? Not Ericsson. Oh, what's his name? Ranieri, sorry. Got all the plaudits, and rightly so. But there was a lot of work there. A lot of the groundwork, right, was laid by Pearson, and he doesn't really get a mention for me. But when they sacked him, I think they had 2 games to go, and they was actually in a bit of form. They lost that game. I think they'd won their previous 2. And I think, obviously, you don't just sack a manager when there's 2 games to go. Something obviously went on behind the scenes. If you're going to sack him, do it after the 2 games. And when they did that, for me, you deserve to go down. I had no sympathy for him, Doug. And also, all these managers that they're changing, my question is, what do you want, Watford? What do they want? Do they want to win the league? Because that's never going to happen. What do you want? And I mean, they've had some managers there. I thought Flores did well. I thought Garcia did well. But as soon as they hit a bit of a rough patch, it's like they have to bail. And I don't like that. But it's what they want. What do they want? Let us know what they want, because. But no, well deserved to go down. Well deserved. Treat him like that. I thought it was a disgrace. And the players loved him. You could tell they were playing for him. They were playing for him. So
I think the fans liked him as well. I think one of the things that Pearson does is he speaks his mind. So another thing that's kind of gone under the radar is that, remember when we were coming up to the Premier League starting, especially for Watford, they had 3 or 4 players out with corona. Troy Deeney said he wasn't going to play, and that is essentially down to the decision of the board. So I think that's the reason why he got fired, is because he went out and he said, look, this is unacceptable. We're coming into a squad with a small enough squad. With Deeney, our main captain, is saying he ain't going to play. 4 of our players have COVID. What am I supposed to do? So in my opinion, he had every right to criticise them because of the way they handled it. And then I think that probably played a massive part in why he was fired as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. Just to say, hello, Nicole. Hope you're doing well. Obviously, Nicole was on Beyond the 90. quite recently. Really enjoyed that with that United family as well, so that was good. Connor McCrudden, obviously from the Claude and the Bansters channel, he's in. Hope you're doing well, my friend.
QPR fan.
LCFC.
We're all money. Spare a fault for him.
yeah, exactly. LCFC Boya and has said justice for Nige. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Liz Golden saying Nigel got screwed. Absolutely. This one made me laugh. I'm not going to lie. Pearson reaction to being sacked. You're all an ostrich.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, let's move on to the other team that's obviously gone down. First time in 5 years that we will not have Bournemouth in the Premier League. Now, obviously, Eddie Howe has left Bournemouth, but what a job he has done at Bournemouth. I think everyone has to obviously applaud him. What a job he has done. Taking them from 23rd, they were minutes away from going out of the Football League, and then basically took them up to League One, took them up to the Championship, and then won the Championship as well. Connor, are you sad to see Bournemouth go?
In a sense, yeah. I think they've been the underdogs of the Premier League football world, then, if you want to call it that, because the size of Bournemouth shouldn't be in the Premier League, if that makes sense. In the sense of their stadium and the amount that they can spend and things like this, and the amount of money they actually generate altogether, realistically. But yeah, Eddie Howe has done an absolutely fantastic job for Bournemouth. I personally think, I think he'd do somewhere good like Tottenham or something like that. If they were to get rid of Mourinho or someone like that, I think even though this season you could see that the players were, you can tell when a manager's kind of lost the dressing room in a sense. And I think this season it happened. And unfortunately for Bournemouth, it went downhill from there. The creativity and things like this didn't work for them again as it has done in previous years. And to be realistic, I've been a bit shocked with Bournemouth, because I personally think that they should have been competing with the likes of Wolves and maybe a bit like Leicester as well, competing for, Europa League, maybe top end of the Premier League and things like this. But it is unfortunate that he has left. But yeah, I do think that he does have a bright future ahead. Of course, being an English manager, English managers do tend to be overhyped. But I think Eddie Howe, if he was given time at somewhere like a Tottenham, maybe a Wolves, if their manager was to leave, I think he'd do an excellent job at a top club. But yeah, a bit sad that Bournemouth have gone, realistically.
Yeah, the one thing you can take away from Bournemouth, though, is that they played a very good style of football. Obviously beat Manchester United, they beat Chelsea, I think they beat Arsenal as well, and obviously they beat us as well. So, to be fair, they've been a very, very good club. Very, very good club as well. Oh yeah, of course. I didn't really want to mention
about that one.
I didn't really want to mention that, but one of the things that might be the reason that they've gone down, they've conceded 60 plus goals in all 5 seasons that they have been in the top flight. So that they just conceded too many goals for me. Now, obviously, we have looked at Norwich's team and obviously Watford's team. Neil, is there anyone in the Bournemouth team that you would take from Bournemouth for Leicester?
Yeah, there's quite a few. I know that Ake's gone. I think he was one of the prize assets of that kind of team as well. So he's gone to Man City. I'd like to have a look at Fraser and Brooks. It's a position that we really need to fill. Obviously, after losing Mahrez, we've not really found a winger that's really replaced him. Sure, James Maddison's come in, but he's more of a like a cam position. But the issue is that world-class defenders in the Premier League will just mark him out the game and then cut off the supply to Vardy. You know what you're doing. You can basically beat Leicester. So we have to have other ways of doing it. We've got players like Damari Gray, who is okay. We've got Harvey Barnes, who's doing okay, but again, they're both young. Somebody like a Fraser, or I think Ant's saying we've got a link to Brooks as well from Bournemouth, who hopefully will be a really good player. But the issue is just if he can stay fit. We'll have to see, because there are some decent players in there, and I think with the structure that they have and the way that they've bought players like Solanke and stuff like that in that are good players, but they've come from other Premier League teams, so their expectations are a lot higher. So they want to potentially leave. So if they were to get relegated like they have been, the issue is that is the whole squad just going to uproot and move on, as Ake has, as Fraser looked like he was going to. So I don't know. It looks like obviously the manager's gone as well, so that's a big pull from there. That's the issue as well. But yeah, I'd take quite a few because Leicester at the moment we are quite weak, as we found out. I would have happily ended the season after lockdown from the way that we were performing and stuff like that. But we do need squad depth, and we're looking at the Premier League relegated teams to kind of have a fish around and bring them up, just like we've done with Maguire and Maddison and a couple of other players as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. Diesel, is there anyone you would take from Bournemouth?
Yeah, same 3-0 to be fair. Nathan Ake, without a doubt. I know he's gone now, but yeah, without a doubt, I would have picked him. I think he's a class player. I like David Brooks. I know he's had that long-term injury, but the way he was playing before then, I thought, God, he's a talent. And who was the other one we said? I forgot his name.
Fraser.
Yes. Now we've been linked to him for the last year or so. Fraser's very split with our fan base, and all it is because he's like the big glamorous foreign name. That's all it is. The way I look at it, even at worst, a squad player. But Fraser, he works hard. You know, he's had a poor season. You know, let's have that right. The season before, I thought he was brilliant for them. But he works hard. I like players who work hard. He'll work hard. He'll graft. He's coming up to the Arsenal. It's with all due respect, it's a different level. You know, there's no hiding place at the Arsenal. So I think he would. I think he'd be a good player, and I think he's free, isn't he? He'd be on a free as well. So
yeah,
and he wouldn't cost the earth in terms of wages. Yeah, why not? I think it'd be a smart bit of business.
Yeah. Sorry. The reason I'm chuckling is that you can see on the screen, LCFC Boya, we should sign IRT Trust Sutton Cry.
I'll say, would you take Callum Wilson in your squad, backup striker? Because he's still Premier League proven quality for Arsenal or Liverpool.
Yeah, I don't rate Wilson. You know, I don't think he's all that.
I don't think it'd be too bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think he's a decent enough player.
Wilson?
I think he's got a future in the Premier League for sure. So a team that's coming up or something might take a gamble on him. But the issue is if he can stay fit. And that's the gamble that you run, just like when Sturridge went to West Brom to try and keep them up.
Yeah. Realistically, Joshua King and Callum Wilson's going to be like they're going to be the prize strikers to go and get. Like I think Leicester could probably go and get someone like a Joshua King and be like really good off it, because like we'll talk about Leicester in a little bit, but like Iheanacho, I don't rate him in a sense of Vardy. Okay. But I think that, you know, he could be like the two of them, they could be good for any top six side as a backup realistically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. And obviously, like with Bournemouth, Norwich, and obviously, sadly to say it, Watford deserve to go down, but I'm sad to see Norwich go, and I'm sad to see Bournemouth go. Villa survived by the skin of their teeth. They conceded 66 goals this season. Now, basically, we have to say this now. They need defenders. They need to defend better, and they need a new goalkeeper, because Nyland is awful. Absolutely awful. One of the reasons that probably Villa are still in the Premier League is because of that goal line technology decision at Villa Park against Sheffield United. How that wasn't a goal, I'll never know.
Yeah.
And obviously Pepe Reina's away as well. So, but no, well done to Villa. Well done to Villa. Obviously, pains aren't to say, obviously, but I think he wants Villa down. I think, but we'll see. But anyway, but moving on. Obviously, surprisingly, we are going to come to Leicester City next, because obviously Leicester City, Tottenham, Arsenal and Wolves will be the discussion here. Neil, very, very unlucky for you to lose top four on the final day. How would you sum up your season?
We rose really quickly. our expectations were too high. The team got carried away, and we did what Liverpool did when they went to win the league. Basically, you two know exactly what I'm on about. I think we had Doug on the show when we drew to Brighton, and it was just not a good performance. And we asked you and another Liverpool fan, like, is this the same thing? And you went yes, and we went, oh no. And so we could have stayed in the Champions League spaces, but it was our problem. Chelsea and Man United weren't unbelievable in that time. They were good, but we were the issue. So they slipped up. So we slipped up and we lost it. It was a combination of that, the Brendan Rodgers whole thing, the fact that we lost. So towards the end of the season, we lost Ricardo Soyuncu, Ben Chilwell, James Maddison, and because we've not got the squad depth to really back that up, we just kind of fell apart. And I'm not I was a bit disappointed we missed out on the Champions League, but in hindsight now, probably the Europa League is better for us because we don't have the squad depth. And also, if we got that fourth position, we would have been put in pot 4. And I think you guys have known. When you're in pot 4 and you get a big team, it would have been nice to see a Real Madrid, a Juventus, a Bayern Munich here, but we would have got absolutely torn apart. And so all the anticipation of we're in the Champions League and we would have been out of it even quicker. So overall for the squad, I think he's we've had a good time. I want to bring back a point that I think Connor was saying about the top score, about Nacho. So I know that at the moment Nacho doesn't look that great, but this season he's really pulled his finger out. I think this season in all competitions he's got a better goal to minute ratio than Jamie Vardy. He's not had a lot of minutes, but he's unbelievably clinical at goal. When he came from Man City, he was a bit like, you stand in one spot, and when you've got Kevin De Bruyne playing, he'll play it to you, and you can put it in the back of the net. He's still got that clinicalness about him, but overall, it's just, again, we've got him and we've got Jamie Vardy, and then that's it for strikers. And if we're going to compete in the Europa League, we're going to have to recruit more people just to fill out that squad, because probably you guys know as well. It's not particularly. It's not the fact that the matches are hard. Just the Thursday Sunday is a lot to take in.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like from experience of obviously that Thursday Sunday, it does take a lot on the players. Obviously Arsenal are in the Europa League now. Diesel, obviously congratulations on winning the FA Cup. How do you sum up your season? Because you said to me a couple of weeks ago that it's still a piss poor season.
Yes, this is where the podcast is going to go controversial, mate, because I seem to be a minority here. Doug, I'm going to tell you, I'll be honest with you, my opinion, it's been an absolutely poor season. For me, the FA Cup is a bonus. It's a bonus in a poor season, on our channel. I mean, we've had comments directed at me because I've said that, and they've said, "What are you talking about, Diesel? It's a blinding season. We've won the FA Cup," and that just goes to show why we've got the worst, most deluded fan base in the league, in my opinion. We have, there's no hiding away from it. We finished 8th. It's the old school saying. The league table does not lie. 8th is poor. It's poor, and I think what a lot of fans, not just Arsenal fans, I think there's a lot of fans who are very, very, what I like to call fickle. We pull the FA Cup out the bag. All of a sudden, what happened before is all forgotten. It's still, and we think, oh, these players have turned a corner. Let's hand them out new contracts and make them even bigger millionaires than what they already are. And next season, let's go with them. And then the same thing will happen again. And that's what we do at this club. No matter what they do, they could win the next 5 FA Cups. These players are not good enough for me. They've got to go. Got to. Problem we've got is we pay ridiculously high salaries to bang average players. So a lot of the players we've got are on such good salaries, that we don't really have a problem in shifting them. It's the salaries that are hurting us. Mesut Ozil being at the club is hurting us. If it was up to me, I'd pay him off tomorrow. Just pay him off and get him out of the club. He's toxic in that club. Because any decent player who's doing the business, they're looking at Mesut Ozil. I would. If I'm a Aubameyang, I'm looking at him, seeing what he's on, thinking, hang on, he's not even playing. I'm the main man here. I'm doing the business. I want what he's on. And if it's not Aubameyang, it's going to be another player who's in form, and then it's going to be another, and it's a circle, you know. But make no mistake, lads. You know, as much as we've won the FA Cup, and I'm buzzing about that, don't get me wrong. That's not blinded me. Absolutely poor season. Poor. Don't care. Poor.
Yeah.
You know.
I think you've hit that on the nail on the head. The fact is that obviously Arteta's come in. He's done more than 8 months than Spurs have done in God knows how many years now since they've won a trophy. 2008, I think it was 2008 League Cup. I think it was the last time they won a trophy. And obviously they came.
To be fair, Doug, they won the Audi Cup. Yeah, it's a little tin pot cup. Yeah, just saying.
Yeah. But no, obviously on the 29th of August, funnily enough, Liverpool play Arsenal in the curtain raiser for the new season, which I find that absolutely bizarre how so early that is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's really early though, isn't it? It's like the whole footballing world has just been weird in 2020. It's just crazy. Like football's not the same anymore, and I don't think it will be the same in a sense. And you know, to Arsenal and the Community Shield, it's like I think it's the first time since 2006 since we've been in a Community Shield. So you know that's just crazy in itself. You know that Liverpool haven't been in it, but yeah. But to be playing Arsenal, you know, it's a little bit of a fun pre-season game, and get to take out a few. Well, to be fair, you know, I think Arsenal under Arteta, they've done well because you know Arsenal were what were they 10th or 11th when Arteta come in and looking pretty bad. So you know he's done a very good job. But I agree with Diesel. You know, you need to get rid of the people like Özil in the club, even people like David Luiz. Even though he's done well since signing that new contract, I think you know you need to just get rid of him completely and you know start fresh, because the recruitment system at Arsenal, you know, like we talked about earlier on, you know, Willian, you know, a 31-year-old, you know, that's not the type of player. If you're looking to bounce back into the Champions League and trying to get in there, that they're not the type of signings you go for. Yes, for backup, absolutely, you go and get him. But if that is going to be your, you know, your marquee signing for the summer, you know, it's a terrible signing, in my opinion.
If that's our marquee signing, I'll tell you, I'll cry my eyes out. And the thing is, you know, what we're finding at the moment is a lot of Arsenal fans are looking at what Klopp's done at Liverpool, right? And they just automatically think, well, it took Klopp 4 years, so, you know, Arteta's going to do what Klopp did. It doesn't work. Just because Klopp did it, it doesn't mean we're going to do it. You know, Klopp had backing. And this is the whole reason. I mean, we have Raz, you know, myself and Terry, because Terry loves Arteta, right? I'm not so keen on him, if I'm honest. You know, I wanted an elite manager. You know, and the way I look at it, I painted this scenario of, you know, you walk into a canteen, right, for example, and you've got Mourinho, who for me is still a top manager, right? You've got, you know, Mourinho, you've got Guardiola, and you've got Klopp on the table. My dream manager is Simeone, right? Simeone could walk into that canteen, sit at that table and not look out of place, right? Arteta, could he sit there and no? You know, he's never managed before. And we're thinking, shit. So essentially, it's like a business. You know, if your business is failing, you've got one last throw of the dice. You're going to give it to the best man you can get, right? Not a rookie. And that's how I look at it. Fair play. Yeah. He's doing okay. I don't think we've improved as much as what a lot of the Arsenal fans say. But I just think he needs to be backed. My issue is this board. I don't think they're going to back him. As you said, Willian is probably going to be our marquee signing. Now, we're on about trust the process and build. Willian's 31, 32 in a few days. For me, when you say build, that's not building. No. That's like, you know, sticky tape, plaster. Do you know what I mean? That's not a... and that's why I worry.
It's a safe buy, in my opinion, if you're going to get him. Then he's going to be a... You've seen what he can do. You know what he's about. So it's not a big risk, but at the same time, he's a steady Eddie. You know what you're getting from him. But from what Chelsea fans are saying, he does come in and out of games quite a lot. So he's been all right this season, but at times he will have long spell of games where he just doesn't do anything. But hopefully with the squad depth like Chelsea have got, and that you can kind of go, right, if you don't play well, you're off, and we need to bring another player in a wing position to freshen up. So hopefully if he does come to you, to give him that kick up the backside to go, right, you've got to do what you did for Chelsea this season.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think Arsenal need to give Arteta time, and I think they will. It's great he's won his first trophy. And obviously to beat Manchester City and Chelsea as well to do it, which is fantastic as well. So obviously we go to Wolves and Spurs. Now both have had contrasting season, has to be said. Wolves have been absolutely fantastic this season, whereas Spurs have been dreadful. And Connor, I'm gonna put this bluntly: Spurs haven't recovered since that Champions League final. Would you agree?
Absolutely. The thing is with Tottenham is, for me personally, I secretly thought that Liverpool had won the Champions League, after we beat Barcelona, but that was mentally. I thought that we'd won the Champions League, but you have to win it on the pitch. It's fair enough saying that. Like, in my head, Liverpool have already won 3 Premier League titles before now, so it's a bit different like that. But yeah, like that whole week for the Champions League, Pochettino saying that he was going to leave if they won the Champions League, and then you had players coming out and saying, like Eriksen, saying, if we win the Champions League, I'm leaving. And then when they don't win the Champions League, after, to be fair, the biggest part of the game being probably the better side, it's just a massive, heads down the hole type thing, because realistically, the entire season, at the beginning was dreadful. I still remember that game against Newcastle, and I think Newcastle won that game. And Tottenham just looked terrible. Eriksen didn't want to be there. Harry Kane looked out of place. Son didn't look normal. And realistically, that's just been Tottenham's season in general. And I know that Diesel said that he thinks that Jose Mourinho is still a top manager. I personally don't. I think he is done now at the top level. I think he's a granddad then, compared to Klopp, Guardiola, Simeone as well. I think, I said I was going to be unbearable in this. I am going to be a bit unbearable if there's any Tottenham fans in here. But yeah, I do think he is a bit of a granddad in football. And I personally, when, they sacked Pochettino, which I think now was probably a bad choice, but I think it was the right choice at that time, because Tottenham looked terrible in the sense. But they should have gone for someone higher, like a Simeone, or maybe the manager. I can't think of his name, but maybe someone. But instead of going for Mourinho, because if Mourinho's given money again this summer and doesn't perform and doesn't get back into the Champions League, then I can see Daniel Levy quickly snapping his fingers and going, "You're gone," plain and simple. Yeah. And realistically, I think they're going to need a massive shake-up. I know that they've signed Bergwijn in January, and that for me was probably a good signing for them. I think Leicester were linked with him at the time, and I think Neil will say that more than me. But I think he I love him just for his goal against Manchester City and practically putting a dent in their season. But overall, I think Tottenham have been terrible. I will agree with that. And if Mourinho doesn't do well, then I do think that realistically his time will be up for sure if he does muck up again next season.
Yeah, I agree with Ant there. Sacking Pochettino was right in my opinion, not who they replaced him with. Yeah, absolutely. I was absolutely shocked when they appointed Mourinho. I'm not going to lie. I think I actually remember. I was at work and I was coming out of work and there was something like going across my phone screen, and it said Mourinho agrees Spurs deal. I was like, what? Like I honestly couldn't believe it. How you go from Pochettino to Mourinho to basically very good football to basically being put to sleep football. You know what I mean? But I have to say, Wolves have been absolutely fantastic this season. Obviously, they are in Europa League action against Olympiacos tonight. But their only way of European football is obviously to win the Europa League. But absolutely fantastic. And obviously, Jimenez continues to be linked away as well. But the thing with Wolves is, Neil, every time they seem to lose a player, they just seem to replace them with someone else. How impressed have you been with Wolves this season?
I've been really impressed. I thought they'd struggle with the small squad they have, and the fact they're playing Thursday, Sunday is just amazing. Bearing in mind, I think I mentioned earlier that they beat Man City twice this season, which again they've not been top form. But for them to play Europa League and this has been, in my opinion, obviously Jurgen Klopp's going to get all the credits this season, and rightfully so. He will be one of my managers. He would probably be my manager of the season just for what he's done with that level of squad. And they've had it's really good recently how we've seen all these philosophies come out. Nuno's got he's got the plan, he knows how to build. And this is where I'm seeing, you were just mentioning earlier about Tottenham, Connor, like they're kind of going, or Arsenal, we'll just have this player. We don't really know what we're doing. We've got this philosophy and maybe it'll work, we'll see. You've got teams like Wolves, you've got teams like Leicester that have got a really solid foundation of, right, we're going to bring in players, we're going to train them up, we're going to play this certain formation the Premier League's not really seen before, and with certain formations and stuff, and we know how to beat teams, and that's, I think, really good for the Premier League. But Wolves are just a great team, and I think also in that kind of boundary, I think Sheffield United deserve a lot of credit as well, because the way I was saying earlier, they've not got any standout marquee players. Like you can say for Wolves, they've got Jimenez, and Neves plays a lot of the balls in the midfield and stuff like that. But you can't really name a single Sheffield United player that's like, okay, he's the standout person. They all work as a team with a low budget that they've got. The manager, I'm really refreshed that he's come out and just speaks his mind. A lot of managers do double talk and stuff like that. He'll kind of, if a player's crap, he'll just say a player's crap. And I quite like that about him as well. But yeah, I think looking forward to the potential, I know it's going a little bit off the question, but I'm really excited for next season as well. You've got players like managers like Ancelotti as well. He's going to get Everton firing. So this next bracket down of us, we're going to struggle because of maybe with the Europa League as well. Wolves, Everton, they're really going to challenge you guys as the traditional top six. And that's kind of what we've needed in the Premier League for a bit of a while, in my opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree. Connor, it is nice to finish 50 points ahead of Everton, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, to be fair. To be finishing, what was it, 18 points ahead of Man City, that's good in itself. And then to know we finished 50 points ahead of our local rivals in Everton, it's just the cherry on the cake, really. It's just, the nice little, topping. But, to be fair, I think, we'll talk about Liverpool in a little bit. But, it's, to be fair, apart from Liverpool, like what Neil said, I think that, Wolves and Sheffield United, fair play to them. They've been, absolutely fantastic. One player in particular I have been massively impressed by is Adama Traore, even though I know he's another player that does go missing at times, but I feel like throughout the season, that's kind of ironed out of his game. And I think he's become more crucial for, some like Wolves, and I think that, like we were talking earlier on about, Willian being, Arsenal's, marquee signing. I think if Arsenal were to try and go and get Adama Traore, I think that would be perfect for Arsenal. Like that would complete them. I don't know whether if Diesel agrees with me or not, but I think that he would truly make Arsenal a lot better going forward.
Yeah, I think it is, mate. I think that it's money. He'd be. I'm reading about. He's, they're going to put him at 70 million or whatever it is. And listen, let's not be fooled. The only reason we're getting Willian is because he's free. let's just tell you how it is, right? That is the only reason, right? We are getting him. If he had a fee, we wouldn't even be looking at him. Right? But Wolves are quality team. I don't know anyone who doesn't like Wolves. You've got to give credit where credit's due. They had a great season last season. I thought, I'm one of them people, I always judge clubs and certain players in this, I call it the second season syndrome, right? That's where, I've seen so many, players in the first season, they're brilliant. Second season, the opposition know their game, they know how they move, and they get found out. And Wolves have done it yet again. They're just outperforming. And what you were saying, Connor, and Neil as well, I totally agree with you too, is that what I like about the Wolves, the Sheffield Uniteds, is there's no superstars. It's just one big team, a collective who play for each other. And I love that. You know, I come from an era where I love that. Everyone gets stuck in. No one's bigger than him. I'm not bigger than you. We're all one collective. And Leicester, when you won the title that season, again, no superstars, right? And everyone, this week, Leicester are going to get found out. Oh, all right, it's going to be next week. Oh, next week. You know, and so many people doubting you. And yet you kept it going and going because it was a team effort. And I love that. Love it, you know. So Wolves, for me, are exactly like that. I'll take the whole team, if I'm honest.
Take Nuno. I think somebody commented earlier. Would you take Nuno with that philosophy at Arsenal?
Yeah, yes. It's a bit of a contradiction, really, because I've always said I like managers who have won things. And I know he's not won nothing yet, but for me, he's an exception. I think he's a brilliant manager. I like how he comes across in the media. He's very honest. He looks like a manager you wouldn't mess with. Let's be honest. But they play for him. You know, they run through brick walls for him. You know, I love the way they play, and they have a plan in place. They've got a strategy. You know what I'm saying? They've got a really good recruitment team. Same as Leicester. Many a times I've heard an Arsenal fan say, if we could just nab all Leicester's recruitment staff, we'd be laughing. We probably would.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Absolutely. Yeah. Right, let's move on to obviously the top four. Bayer Leverkusen just beaten Rangers 1-0, so obviously Rangers are out. So that's just come up on my screen. So if anyone is obviously tuning into Europa League action, and obviously that is what's happened. So let's move on to the top four. Let's start with Liverpool, Connor. 99 points. Just barring obviously Watford aside, it has been a
Neil, this is where me and you got shut up. Should we go now? Yes, that's.
But yeah, Connor, it's 30 years we've gone without winning a title. I really hope it isn't. 30 more years that we have to wait a game. But how good has this season been?
You know, it's to be at the end of it now. You know, we can now relax and go with it. There was a time where I think Jurgen said it. You know, the null void was talked about, and I was scared. Anyone a night. To be fair, I take a 99 ice cream right now, but 99 points. You know, absolutely fantastic. To better what we did last season just shows where this Liverpool squad is. And you know, from last year to be 97 points and not win a Premier League title, it's unheard of. And you know, I'll always say, you know, Liverpool didn't lose that title. Man City won it. You know, plain and simple. You know, to go, you know, 14 on the bound. Yeah, like honestly, Liz, we will be more unbearable. Yeah, like Neil and Diesel know already. You know, but no, it's, you know, like Liverpool. Like I said, you know, to be better than last season was superb. But realistically, I always go back to the Community Shield earlier on in the season when Liverpool, you know, we lost to Manchester City, and you know, we looked up and saw Man City win it, and Klopp took all of the players and we watched Man City lift it, and it was like, this is what we don't want to happen again at the end of the season. We don't want Guardiola lifting the Premier League trophy and going, look, we've won another Premier League above you, you know, come and get us. Like Jurgen knew that Liverpool had to be perfect this season, and for me, that's what we have been. Yes, when we come back from football, what we didn't even have to come back. You know, Man City had 81 points, Liverpool had 82. You know, at the beginning of, you know, football back. So Liverpool didn't have to come back. We could have gone on holiday, you know, 2 months early. You know, plain and simple. But you know, it just shows realistically how good we've been. And you know, I know that, you know, we might talk about, you know, player of the years and things like this, but you know, for me, Trent's been unbelievable. Hendo's been unbelievable. Mane. Even Bobby, I know Bobby doesn't score the goals and things like this, but even he has been brilliant. You know, each and every single player, even Mo as well, you know, each and every single player for me has just been brilliant all year round. And, even when we've had injuries as well, we've managed to win games. And I think that realistically, Manchester United have done it for years, with them winning 1-0, 2-1, and things like this. That's how you become champions. I think that Liverpool have done that perfectly this year. And all right, it's fine for Man City to thrash, someone like Burnley 5-0. I can be unbearable. To be fair, Anthony is the one person that does get a bit of stick off me. To be fair, and it's kind of back and forth, so I like it with Ant. But to be fair, I won't rabble on too much. But realistically, Liverpool are champions, and no one else now can say, "Oh, you've never won the league." It's like that's a dead thing now, guys. It's a dead thing. Like, you can't say it anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. Diesel, Neil, do you want to add anything onto that?
You guys are the best team in the league. Simple as that. You deserve to win.
Yeah.
Thank
Do you know what I was going to say, Connor? Right, when you said something there that I thought was absolutely brilliant. When you said Klopp made those players watch Man City, right, lift that trophy. If I was the manager of Liverpool, if I was Klopp, I would have done the exact same thing, and I would have asked every single player, "Does it hurt?" Right? Because if it doesn't, you shouldn't be here, right? But they all would have said, "Yes, it hurts." Good, because next season, think of that. Just picture this image and what because this is how close we got to it. We could taste it. Next season, that is what's going to spur you on to get even better. And do you know what? Klopp. I mean, I wanted him when he was at Dortmund because I love charismatic people. He's a character. I love the way he integrates with the fans. I love, obviously, all of that is obviously, from his Dortmund days, the whole, the yellow wall and all of that. I love that. I also love the fact that he went against your board when they tried to up the ticket prices. I thought that was absolutely brilliant. I thought, that was class. And when you look at Liverpool, you can't knock any player in that team. A lot of Arsenal fans were obviously going trigger happy on social media when you lost to Watford. And I'm thinking, why? Who are we to banter you? And it was, again, that just goes back to our stupid this fan bases. But, I look at, your team, your players. Henderson, I would take Henderson in a heartbeat. Again, a lot of fans, he gets a lot of stick. What does he do? He doesn't do anything. I'll tell you something, he's captain for a reason. For a reason. I'll tell you what, because without him in your team, you don't play as good, right? No. And the same with Bobby Firmino. Yes, he doesn't get a lot of goals, but for me, he's the glue, and I think, yeah, I mean, your whole team. I thought it was very risky of Klopp, and this is why I admire Klopp a lot more, because he didn't strengthen in the summer, and in my head, I thought that is risky, because to ask these players to get that same level of performance is very, very hard. You need to bring players in, freshen it up, and obviously keep those players on their toes. They went one up. They went even further. Oh my God, what a man! And do you know what? They love him. I love seeing that. Whether it's, I mean, I'm an Arsenal fan, as you guys know, but I'm a football fan as well. And when I see players embracing the manager after games, they love Klopp. They love him. They run through walls for him, and it's a joy to see for me personally. So do you know what? Fair play. You guys have deserved it. Brilliant.
The best thing for me is for under Jurgen, Liverpool have been progressing each year, and I think this year has been the hardest year, because how do you improve on 97 points? It's a bit. Get 99. It's easy to say, but you have to go and do it. And I think what's good with Jurgen as well is I think everyone at the club has the same mentality. It goes through the board, it goes through Klopp, it goes through the players, it goes through the fans. We all are after one thing, and that is to get success and play this attractive football that's just good to watch every single week. And Klopp has put that down, not to himself. He's put it down to the backroom staff, like people like Pep Linders, Michael Edwards getting, the brilliant transfers in Andrew Robinson for 8 million, and even Virgil van Dijk for 75 million. I know it's a lot, but Virgil van Dijk has become the Rolls Royce of defenders.
Bargain. You got a bargain there.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the thing is that Liverpool, I'd say Adrian he's like, if we had Mignolet when Alisson got injured, I don't think we would have gone 99 points. I think we would have, like, the game against Leicester at Anfield, I think that, we would have conceded 1 or 2 there. I think, there's games, obviously, when he was playing. I think we had Arsenal as well at Anfield, and Adrian was in. And, like, I think, if Mignolet was in that position, I think we would have lost points, to be honest. So, it's not so much the price tag, it's the person you bring in. And, I think that's just been, Klopp all over. Mane, for example, 34 million, and he's the best left winger in world football. Now, it's crazy. So, for me, whoever Jurgen signs, I know, Jamal Lewis, is obviously the new one, and people, like, there are a few Liverpool fans that are doubting that. But I'm like, if Klopp trusts him and Klopp wants him, I'll take it, because everything that Klopp has done so far, it's like Gini Wijnaldum. I was a massive fan against Gini Wijnaldum, but I was proven wrong very quickly, and I'm happy I was wrong. I was over the moon that I was wrong. To be a left mid, to play in central midfield, and to play the role that he plays as well, is a huge difference. And I think that Klopp is the best at doing that. And for me, I think he's easily, manager of the year. Of course, I'd say that anyway. But for me, if it wasn't him, it would be Chris Wilder for Sheffield, in my opinion.
I agree.
But apart from that, I think Liverpool and Klopp, it's going to be hard next season, because, of course, Man City got money, and, Chelsea back, United and things like this. So it's going to be hard to keep that title. But it's like what Jurgen said, we're not going to defend the title. We're going to attack it next year. I think that is going to be crucial for next season.
I totally agree. Obviously, we will move on to Man City just very, very briefly. We can see them going again, obviously, next season. Obviously, they've got Ferran Torres, and obviously they've got Nathan Ake as well. So they've probably replaced Kompany, because I think that's what's kind of lacked them this season, is that they've not replaced Vincent Kompany, and I think that's obviously cost them the lead. But yeah, they've obviously fallen really, really badly, actually. Obviously 98 points last season, 81 this season, so it's definitely something as well. Manchester United and Chelsea, obviously they get 3rd and 4th. Who at the start of the season predicted Man United to finish 3rd? Because I'll be honest, right? I was the only one that predicted Chelsea to finish 4th. I just thought Frank Lampard had something going there. I thought Lampard would definitely get them 4th, but I never saw Manchester United finishing 3rd. So, as much as it pains me to say this, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer deserves a lot of credit for basically his first full season in charge. He's managed to get them 3rd place. So we have to.
The one signing though.
Yeah.
Fernandes, they weren't that great beforehand. It's just one play, but then that shows you, as you've seen with Van Dijk for your squad, one player can make such a big difference where you've got that gap and you plug it with a player that just like, right, I know what I'm doing. And to come back to the little bit to Liverpool, kind of, he's brought a value and a mentality to your squad, which is just you can't help but fall in love with. But it shows you how important. So of all the top 6 squads, I think you guys have got the strongest mentality. Even though Man City have got the money behind it, there's something about Liverpool at the moment with the charisma of Klopp and the whole fans getting behind the team and stuff like that. And what happened last season, it's all kind of unfolded like a little bit of a fairy tale for you guys. But again, I think you were saying earlier that the transfers have been brilliant. And even when you've had the chance to sign Salah for 40 million, you've had Minamino, even though he's not had much of a chance, you can see what the identity of, not just we need a player, here's a player, like kind of the Arsenal situation with Willian, where we need this kind of position. We'll just kind of put somebody in there that will kind of do a job. You know exactly why Minamino went in there for a great value as well. So, but yeah, for Man City, I just think like it's nobody really cares. It's like if you throw money at, it's like when somebody's winning at Monopoly and then they've got the whole board and you're like, well, you're bound to win eventually.
You're getting the love.
Oh, stop it! Stop. It's very hard, as you boys know, very hard for me to go red. I actually am, but stop it, Seamus. I love you too, mate. Love you.
So I'm just gonna ask you all some very quick fire questions here. So, flop of the season, but I'm going to give you mine. Joe Linton for Newcastle. how you can be number 9 at Newcastle and basically only score, I think, 3 or 4 goals this season. £50 million. Diesel, I'll come to you first. Flop of the season?
Is that how much he was? 50 million?
Yeah.
Christ.
Yeah.
Blimey. I didn't know he was that much. Do you know what? What goes against him as well is when you look at the number 9s they've had over the years. I mean, that doesn't bode well for him. But saying that, the only saving grace, he's in a team that just doesn't create. You know, I know that's a very easy excuse that we give to strikers who misfire. But let's be honest. I mean, he plays pretty much on his own up there. The gap between him and the midfielders is very, very large. So I think anyone would have a job there. If I was Newcastle, I'd be looking at a Callum Wilson. I would be looking at a Callum Wilson and think, do you know what? We could nab him because I think he'd get more goals. He's quicker. He's got more pace. Flop of the season for me, I'll never change my mind because I cannot stand this bloke. For me, it's Mesut Ozil. No one gets above Ozil, in my opinion. Look at the money he's on. Doug, you've seen my stream. You know my feelings. There's not many people I hate. I hate this player. Hate him with a passion because he's taken the piss out of us. And a lot of fans can't see it because he tweets something, every now and again. Oh, Mesut Ozil, he's better than Bergkamp. Piss off. No. Ozil for me, always. Flop.
Ozil, interesting.
Yeah.
Neil, flop of the season?
So I've got a few that come to mind. I don't know the kind of players that you haven't mentioned. I want to say Haller from West Ham has been a big flop for his 50 million for exactly the same reason that you're saying Joel Linton. But the difference is West Ham have the money and they have the finances and they have the squad able to provide, but he just hasn't. There was another player that was on the guy from Aston Villa that was a striker as well. The Brazilian
Wesley.
Yeah, for a very similar kind of thing where they've just thrown money at the problem and it's not worked out. I did have a couple more, but I forgot. But them two for the same reason that they could have been brilliant signings, but they haven't hit form, and it's just because they haven't turned up. So I think there's not been too many worse players than them, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah. Connor, do you go along with those names, or do you have somebody else?
I got one more, and I actually got two. One of them's Leicester City. I'm joking.
Oh, don't do that.
No, I'll go with Brendan Rodgers because I think what he's done. I know he had injuries, but that's just a joke thing. No, I'm joking. To be fair, but no, there is one player I got, and that is Joel Cancelo for Man City. I think that he was brought in to replace Kyle Walker and to give him competition, and quite clearly it hasn't worked because Kyle Walker's practically played right back for the entirety of the season. So it hasn't worked realistically, but it'd be hard to not say Joel Linton for the price and that. But for me, I probably go with Cancelo.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think
Danny Drinkwater for his season at Burnley and his season at Aston Villa and just has flopped both of them.
Yeah, I think those are very, very good shouts. Right, goal of the season, Connor. Your goal of the Premier League season?
Caught you on the off.
Yeah, that did catch me off. Then I didn't expect that. I'm going to say it on a bias point, Fabinho against Man City. I think I haven't reacted as I think that was the one goal that I properly screamed the house down because just that game was so crucial towards the title and just to see Pep Guardiola shouting at the referees, shouting twice. That was the added bonus to that. But for me, Fabinho against Man City at Anfield, what a goal, and put us on the title run really.
Actually, Seamus Moore, I actually agree with you. Ndombele has been really poor for Spurs. Really poor. And especially, I think he arrived at 65 million, I think it was, or something like that. But yeah, I would agree. I didn't actually think of Ndombele, to be honest with you. That is very, very good. Is Drinkwater cursed, says Les Golden? Yeah, I think he is, to be honest. I think he is cursed. Anthony has said, Barnes, Sheffield United volley. That was a pretty special goal. Diesel, your goal of the season?
God, do you know what? Yeah, I'd need time to think about that if I'm honest. You know what it is? It's been such a long season. I just can't. I'll tell you what, make it easy. I'll go with. It was a good goal, but it's not among the best I've seen. Aubameyang's against Chelsea, his second goal. I'll go with that. But I can't think right now. You put me on the hop there. But,
that's all right. Neil, what about you?
So I'm going to go for a bit of a weird one, but I think the Watford goal against Arsenal, the Danny Welbeck overhead bicycle kick, was definitely one that was, I'd say, was one of the goals of the season. The problem is, I think we all have this perspective like, crap, we know our team's goal of the season, but Premier League. So I'll give it a quick Google in the meantime. So they've got that was a good one. Sorry,
I've done the same thing.
Yeah. I remember the hand match against Chelsea. That overhead kick was pretty amazing. And just overall, there's not been any absolute screamers. And if they are, I think you guys are in the same position where they're in October and November, and at times where it feels like that was last season almost because of what's happened. So the Danny Welbeck one for me was pretty good. I think there's been a couple. Ben Chilwell's against Watford, I think, was absolute thunderbolt. And I can't really remember. I'm struggling because there's definitely been a few goals where it's been scored against us, and I've just kind of stood up and kind of gone, "Oh, there's nothing we could do about that." That was absolutely brilliant. So so I'd say definitely the Welbeck one is up there. I'm not sure if it would be the goal of the season, but that's definitely one for the running as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Seamus, yeah, that's right. Son's goal against Burnley did get goal of the season on Sky. I do remember that goal. That was from his own box and twisted and turned past a few Burnley defenders. But to be fair, Burnley have had a very good season as well. So, it's really difficult because, obviously you've got Kevin De Bruyne. I actually think one of the goals of the season, was Kevin De Bruyne against Newcastle. I think the one when basically the ball comes up and he just volleys it and it goes underside of the bar. I just love when a goal like that goes in as well. Chris Welsh says, I love Salah goal against Newcastle. So underrated. Firmino flick. Salah finished back in September. Yeah, that was a cracking goal as well. So the last thing I want to discuss, because we've gone an hour and 18 minutes, and this has been absolutely fantastic. So thank you so much to the three of you for coming on. VAR. Now, I did not want to bring this up, but I'll come to Diesel first. What have you made of VAR this season?
Just due to throwing a grenade right at the end, Doug. I don't like. Do you know what? I don't like it. But I don't think it's so much I don't like it. I think it's the people who are operating it. As we said earlier on, that Villa, against Sheffield United. How was that possible? We've seen a lot go against us. I think you guys would have as well. There's been a lot of situations, shall we say, where you watch it, you think clear as day that is offside, and it's not given. And obviously they have a screen on the side of the pitch. Very rare the referee goes over and has a look himself. Why? If they're not going to use it, why is it there? Again, it's very much like the water breaks. It disrupts the game. What I don't like at the moment is when we score a goal, I'm sort of... And I'm hesitating because I want to. Is it a goal? Is it been given? Can I celebrate? Oh, it has been. Okay, yay! It's like I don't like it, mate. But I do think it's the people who are operating it behind the scenes. I don't think they've got a clue. They're not football people. And all this. Oh, he's offside because because of a toenail. I mean, come on, it's ridiculous. It's ruining the game, ruining it.
Yeah, I agree. Connor, what do you agree with Diesel on VAR?
Yeah, I think in a sense that VAR in the Premier League is bad. It is bad. But I think if the Premier League was to do it like, for example, like the Champions League do it and the Europa League, it's a lot better in the Champions League and Europa League in the sense that I think that, they use the screens a lot more in that. So I think next season they do need to, use them, completely more because, there's been situations this season where, if a referee had a second look, I think he changed his mind on a few things instead of having, a stranger talking to his ear and things like that. But the number one thing for me, and I will say this, and the fans that I'm going to say this about can, they can come at me, they can come on my channel and have a go. But VAR has been Manchester United's player of the season for sure.
Oh yes, totally. Come on, Connor. I agree.
And that's it. It's been Manchester United's player of the season. People were tweeting, Liverpool, and it's not a thing. Like VAR has hurt us this season. With stupid armpit offsides. Like how could you're going to score from your armpit? That's a new thing now in football in 2020. Manchester United. Forget about Bruno Fernandes being Man United's player of the year. VAR. And people at Stanley Park are Manchester United's player of the year.
Ooh, I don't think you would say if Sophie was here. Honestly,
I would have said it. I would still say it, even if there's United comments in there. I'd still say it.
I think Liz Golden agrees with you. Manchester United, and
yes, Liz.
agrees with you as well. I like this comment. My opinion, VAR is run by a bunch of newborn babies crawling all the buttons, don't know what they've been doing, natural disaster. As main man Claude would say, it's time to go. Yeah, absolutely. VAR isn't the problem. The refs cock it up every match. Yep, absolutely. And Anna has just basically said bluntly, fuck VAR. So seems to always benefit the same teams. Yeah, absolutely. Neil, what do you make of VAR this season?
The issue, I think you guys are right. Like the issue is it's been badly implemented, both by the referees, both by the people behind the scenes, and also let's not forget that the Premier League is super quick, and there's times where the play is a millimetre offside, which I kind of understand, but we've not got the cameras to keep up with it. Now you think they'd get with all this problem, they'd get it sorted, where the resolution, the frame rate, and these are only things that I've realised because other people have just been banging on about the entire time as well. But it would be in the right position in order to get that line and draw the line in properly. And I agree with Diesel as well. We need to know in the ground, like what we're checking for, show it on the screens. So because at the end of the day, it's the first season, I think, ever where you get a better atmosphere at home than you do in the ground. Like you get a better knowledge of what is going on. And that's the kind of thing where I'm like, this is inherently, because of VAR, is encouraging our tier fans not to go to the ground, because you actually see the replay on television. You see, okay, the line's offside, it could be offside. We'll have to see. There have been some really weird decisions, like even the Arsenal one, where the handball outside the box. Like VAR could have easily saw that. And goal line technology has been a bit array recently as well, which we've not seen in the last couple of years. So it's here to stay, lads. I don't think we can really agree that it's not going anywhere. But I think the problem is as well is we've got the Premier League need to take a lot of responsibility for this as well, because as you were saying, it works in other leagues. It works in the World Cup. It works in the Champions League and the Europa League and stuff like that. We've seen it work, but the Premier League are a bit narcissistic and think, no, we're better than that. We know our own rules. We can change them around. And when it changes around and people complain, this is where they need to quite listen to the fans, listen to the managers, and get on with it. Because at the end of the day, certain teams have been screwed over, and that could cost them, some of them, relegation. So it's the Premier League's decision at the end of the day, and they need to be held responsible for it. I'm hoping going forward they actually use the monitors they paid all the money for. They actually go and have more people on the inside that are like goalkeepers, that are defenders, that understand what the goalkeeper is thinking, what the defender is thinking at this time, and that could play a decision into that as well. At the moment, it is just a bit rubbish, but I don't want to slate it too much because I know it's going to be here to stay, and maybe it'll get better, but it's not great in my opinion. I give it like a 3 out of 10 at most.
Yeah.
3 out of 10. I'd probably give it a 2 out of 10 or a 1 out of 10. I just think it's absolutely awful. I really do. And I'm with Diesel on this one. You can't really celebrate a goal anymore. You have to basically wait a second or two and see if it isn't offside. I absolutely hate that.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, it has nearly been an hour and a half. Can I just say, this has been one of my favourite streams ever. Thank you so much to the 3 of you for coming on and agreeing to obviously do this Premier League review. I've absolutely enjoyed it. Also, good luck to Leeds United, Fulham and West Brom. You are all coming back up next season. Brilliant to see Leeds United back, isn't it? After 16 years away, it's just fantastic to have Leeds United back. Obviously, Leeds, Liverpool. I think everyone will look to Leeds, Manchester United as well. I think just going back to Ellen Road as well. So, that's something else as well. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me. Diesel, where can we find you on your socials?
Yeah, obviously part of Claude and the Bounsters on the YouTube, Insta, it's all down there. For the people who cannot read, it's DIE_SEL888, and Twitter is Diesel_888. But Doug, listen, mate, I've really enjoyed it tonight. Really enjoyed it. Anything football, mate, I can talk until the cards come home, as you boys have probably noticed. But no, Doug, much appreciated, and good to meet Connor and Neil as well, and all the nice people in the chat. Some lovely comments. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
No problem. We will obviously have you back on for potentially a Liverpool-Arsenal Community Shield preview. I'd obviously love to have the 3 of you on for that if we can. So that would be absolutely fantastic. Excellent.
Definitely.
Neil, where can we find you on your socials?
Yeah, so just you can find them at Beyond the 90 on Insta, Facebook, Twitter. You'll be able to find all our stuff there. But yeah, just like to say thank you to you guys. Well, it's been this hour and a half has flown by. So the long streams at the same time, but I was like, it just went so quickly as well. So yeah, I'd like to thank you guys. And if you want to check out all things Leicester related, come over to Beyond the 90. There's myself, and as you probably see in the chat as well, and James as well. So we just talk about Leicester stuff. We try and keep level-headed about it. It's easy to get carried away with these things, but at the same time, yeah. Again, appreciate Doug for having you on, and Connor and Diesel for putting up with me and my opinions from time to time.
We'll have you, James, and Ant on here at some point as well. Connor, where can we find you in your socials, my friend?
So at the Cop Council on Twitter and Instagram, as the usual, and then on YouTube as well, the Cop Council. But yeah, thanks for having me on again, mate. And it's this like Neil said, this hour and a half has been quick, and it's been probably the most enjoyable hour and a half of talking football that probably I've had all season. So it's great to finally meet Neil and Diesel as well. And yeah, thanks again, mate, for having me on as well.
Not a problem. So, obviously, guys, go and follow Beyond the 90. Go and subscribe to them. Go and subscribe to Claude and the Bansters. They're doing absolutely fantastic work. Sending my best wishes to, obviously, Terry and, obviously, Claude as well. Really, really good. And, obviously, go and subscribe to the Cop Council. But come and subscribe to me, of course.
More importantly, subscribe to Doug.
but no, everyone in the chat, thank you so much for your comments. Obviously, if we haven't got through to any of your comments, then obviously leave us a comment, and obviously the 4 of us will get back to you very, very soon. But until then, smash a like on this video, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you all in the next video. Thank you so much for spending your hour and a half with me and Diesel, Neil and Connor. An hour and a half has flown by. Thank you very much. See you later. Bring on next